What's going on, everybody? You're listening to SANE Show, the show about nothing and everything. I'm your host, Cliff, and today I have another special guest with us. He's been on the show before. He's a good friend of mine. We go way, way back. I have recording artist. He just released his debut studio album, St. Luke Street. I have Devn with us. How you doing this afternoon, Devn?
I'm feeling good, feeling great, bro.
Awesome. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come on SANE Show. I really appreciate it. I'm glad to have you back on the show. I'm excited to talk about the things we're going to talk about. So I'm really looking forward to today's recording.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited.
really quick, before I introduce the topics, I want to take a moment to shout out all the listeners in all 60 plus countries. Thank you guys. I love you guys. Thank you for continuing to like, share, subscribe, spread the word about SANE Show. Really means a lot. And if you're listening and you don't already follow us, be sure to check us out on Instagram and Twitter at SANE_show. That's SANE, SANE_show. And then you can find us on Facebook at SANE Show. Again, on Facebook, that's SANE Show. So today we're going to have a conversation about recording artist branding, and then we're going to have a conversation about hip hop community. So let's go ahead and hop into it with our first topic, recording artist branding. And just some of my thoughts about the topic. Artist branding is big when being a recording artist. And Devn, I know you and I have had that conversation off the record before as far as what you've gone through. And I look at it as discovering who you are as an artist. You have your personal identity, obviously, as a person and the individual, and then you have your artist identity. And I want to kind of stop there too, because I don't want it to look like with recording artists that whatever their artist identity is, it's just something completely like left field, right? Something that doesn't resonate with the artist as an individual. But we know that artist branding is reflected in the music, in their messaging, and everything that goes around that, even merchandise and things of that nature. So, Devn, I want to hand it over to you just to get some of your thoughts around the topic of recording artist branding. Again, you being a hip hop artist and you having gone through the process yourself, just wanting to get some of your insight as far as what that looks like, branding yourself as an artist.
Of course, we know branding is important with me, whether it's music or the regular Devn. I just remain me. There's nothing. There's no huge difference between the two. I watch a lot of anime. I'm into the Harry Potter. I'm into all of that. So I try to take when I'm not doing music, I try to take that and then try to mesh it with my music life. Because trying to be two different people can be a very difficult thing. Trying to brand yourself on that level, it can be very difficult. So I try to just be myself on both sides. It's like I said, trying to keep that image up, trying to, like I said, you're branding yourself. But I try not to go, like you said, I try not to go all the way left. Write the vision, make it plain, man, keep it real simple. But branding is important. You got to make sure that you stand out. You got to make sure that people know, who you are. But I say just be yourself in it. Trying to be two different people is very hard as an artist. If you can do it, you can do it. I mean, if there's something that I just remain myself. The way I am now in Clip, like I said, we're friends. The way I am in real life is the way I am in music. I'm just doing the music part of them.
And I was going to ask you that too. Like, what advice were you going to give artists that are just starting out, who are trying to figure out their artist identity? One of the things I think about too, when we think about artist brand, people like to say, oh, people that get in the music business, they sell their soul and they become something that they're not. And then because when you see them outside of the music, they're a completely different person. Right. And I feel like in the business, there might have been a time where that was actually a thing. But I do feel now that that's not much of a thing anymore. Right. Because as fans, we want people who are real. We want people who are authentic. Right. We don't want to look at an artist and we see one thing in the music and we see another thing when they're outside of the music.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like when you're an artist, that's where a lot of the depression and all this other stuff, because you've now created this thing and you're not that. So, you got to think like when you make it or when you blow and people start catching on, they're going to know you for what they see Like for instance, we know Lil Jon, he wears shades. We know Future wears shades. The moment that they remove those shades off their face, they're a completely different person. You don't look at them like, oh, that's not the Future I know. That's not the Lil Jon I know. I'm used to seeing them with shades on. So when you come into the game, like be you, be yourself. So it's not hard on you. You know, you're not having a like your reality and your music career is one and the same. Like I said, I watch anime, I have a geeky side to me. I put into my music or I talk about it a lot. Also, I'm tapping more into like the nerd core. I'm tapping more into doing anime music. So, like I said, I'm me. I'm gonna always be me, and that's what people need to try to do. Like all the gold chains and diamonds, and if that's not you in real life, if your lifestyle isn't really like that, there's no need to do it in the music world because that's gonna be hard for you to keep up with.
Listening to you talk, and this is the really interesting thing for me. It doesn't, because coming into this, I'm thinking business, right? Just having just a complete business mindset to it, right? What sells? Because I think that's what a lot of people on the outside looking in might think it is, right? What sells? But if you just go off of what sells, that can take you down the wrong path. But listening to you right now, it sounds like that shouldn't be the approach, right? Because
Well,
that'll take you in the wrong direction.
well, being relatable is what sells.
Hmm.
So then you'll see that a lot of artists in today's time, they're not relatable. There are a lot of people who have, like I'll go back to the diamond chains, the Ferraris, the whatever, right? They're not relatable. A lot of people right now, we went through a pandemic. We're going through a lot of hurt. We're going through a lot of pain, financial issues. You can't talk about riding in this or riding in that or living like this. You know what I mean? It's not, people can't relate to that. Whatever people relate to is what sells. So in my music,
Hmm.
which I would categorize my music as like trap soul because I'm transparent. There's people going through relationship problems. There's people that's being cheated on. There's people who they just want to be wild and club all night. So I try to tap into all of those things because that's what reality is, or just people that just want to make it. You know what I'm saying? I got that on the album too, but that's what sells. That's what sells. Being able to relate. It doesn't matter, what it is. It's just as long as people can relate to you. And a perfect example of the artist is Drake. Drake can rap something or sing something. You be like, dang, I felt like that yesterday. So that's what sells records. It's not the material thing. It's like people really just be yourself.
Hmm.
And I just did and clearly I know a lot of people know, but the record I just did with Luke called Myself is a huge record because he's literally being himself. He's talking about the things that he went through and people can relate to it. And at the end of it, he said, fake it till you make it was always a lie. Like trying to fake it, like, bro, be yourself. You're going to be way more successful as an artist if you remain and be yourself. That's the biggest advice that I can get to any artist. Don't get in the game trying to be somebody else because then you're going to be stuck like that. You got to keep that image up, and
Hmm.
you're not even like that. That's like trying to be aggressive, like, oh, I'm gonna come out talking about guns and all this, and then in real life you're not like that. So then
Right.
when you get approached and somebody try you, now you like, dang, bro, now you exposed, now your career over because you're not really like that. So
Right.
people, be yourself, be yourself.
I couldn't have said it better myself. It sounds so. I guess it's easier said than done for some people, right? But that's true. That's true. Because a friend and I were having a conversation actually not too long ago. We were talking about the thing that sells, right, and the thing that makes people the most loved people, right, in the industry. And this is whether it be in music or whether you're on television or in movies. It's just that people like people who are authentic, who are relatable, and that they're human, right? They're
Right,
right. You because you don't they don't put on this facade that makes people think like they're just all this
right.
godly person that all this other stuff, and it's like no, they're not. They're just regular people. So people like that. People gravitate towards that.
Absolutely.
All right, we're back. Now we're gonna have a conversation about the hip hop community or hip hop rap community, better yet. I look at this community as one of the most unique communities. And one of the most unique things about the hip hop rap community is the fact that there's such a strong sense of community across the entire genre. And it's not just the community of the fans, but the community of the artists. And that's something that we see publicized a lot. And while there are, communities in other genres among artists, it's not like that of hip hop and rap. And I say that because they don't get that recognition. We see it all the time, especially on social media. We're always talking about what's going on in various hip hop communities, from Atlanta to New York to LA, Detroit, North Carolina, Memphis, Houston, Miami, and like they're known throughout the country. And one of the things I was mentioning to you earlier is how you people can name who are those individuals in those communities, and can connect the dots between the various rappers within the various hip hop communities. And I know you're part of the North Carolina and the Charlotte hip hop community, so you know very well how these things go. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on it and how you look at it when you think about the hip hop community.
Charlotte's unique. It's different. Like it's really really different. It's not because we're a city that likes to be entertained. We don't do the entertaining. So we like to be entertained. We're more money, banking, biblical. So it's very unique. So I would say like the hip hop scene is like a baby, or let's say like a toddler. There's a lot of things like it's new, like it's been here, but Charlotte has been an R&B type. And this is just me coming up. This is just from my perspective, me coming up as a kid. I don't know too many people that were huge in hip hop. Like when I was coming up, like someone asked me, who did I look up to, or is there anyone that inspired me? I would say no one. No one inspired me on that hip hop level because I don't really know. Like I heard a few people, you had like Betty Grind, that or like Petey Pablo, like people like that. But it's like so like the scene here is like I said, is unique. You have all. It depends on what like you coming to Charlotte, you're gonna find everything. You're gonna find all types of artists, and it really and the dope thing about it is you get to choose what you want to hear. Like you can go to the House of Blues and you can get jazz and blues music, right? You can get poetry if that's what you're interested in, just depending on the side of town you're on. We know that like the central area, you have all types of artists, but it's unique. It's unique and it's growing. And whatever you're looking for is here. Whatever you're looking for is here. But it's not too much to say about the music scene here. I mean, we're still growing. We're still trying to figure it out. We're still coming up. It's very new. Like I said, we had R&B. We had people like Fantasia. We had Anthony Hamilton. Of course, one of my mentors, Keno Watson. You have a
But
lot of that. Mhm.
and sorry to interrupt, but even though it's still in its infancy, there's still something here. Even when just not me not even being an artist, I look at it when I look at the community, right? I see something, right? And
Mhm.
I especially the artists that have come up, especially like the artists who have paved the way for people like the baby, right? For people like Luke. There's that. Just like when we look at other communities, right? Like when we look at Atlanta, people talk about Ti, they talk about Outkast, and then you look at LA, people talk about Pac, they talk about Snoop, they talk about Dre, who paved the way for artists like Kendrick, like Dom and Game, all those people that came out. And same thing in Detroit. There wasn't really much going on up there, but people like Big Sean and Eminem paving the way for artists that are now coming out of Detroit. And then obviously we got New York. You got Biggie's and Jay
Right.
Z paving the way for people like ASAP Rocky, and there's so many New York artists I cannot name them off the top of my head right now. But you see, like there's that thing that happens that's not it's not isolated to one community. It's all the communities that are in hip hop. Would you go to say that that's the thing?
Yeah, I would say that's the thing. I would definitely say that's the thing. Because when you think of North Carolina, you do think of the Loop, the Elevated J's, the Nero Ferrar, you
Right.
know. But like I said, it's so new. Like it's very unique. It depends on what you're looking for. Like I've
Hmm.
never been in a city like literally like as big as those names are. People come here and still don't know who they are because they're not interested in that. They may be interested in jazz
Hmm.
because you can come here and get all of that. Like Atlanta, that's like oh yeah, that's hip hop. Like we know that.
Hmm.
Like they run in the game, they run in the industry. Charlotte is everything. You come here and get any type of music that you want, depending on what you're looking for. Is that's what you're gonna get.
Hmm.
And so it's very unique. I've never dealt like Charlotte. I can't even describe this scene here. You can't. There's no way to describe it
Hmm.
because everyone is unique. I remember my manager came here and he was like, "Yo," and it's crazy because we all know each other, but we all do different styles of music. You may have, like I said, you got people who do the jazz. You got people who do the R&B. You got people who do nerdcore. You got people who do the hip hop. You got people who do trap soul like me. You got alternative R&B. You got people who do rock. I mean, but we all know each other. So it's a very different, very very different culture. Truly no way to describe it. Like what's happening right now, there's no way to describe it. We just gotta wait. We gotta wait it out. We gotta put the work in as the artist, and then whatever it becomes, I'm looking forward to seeing what Charlotte is going to become as far as like the music.
Would you go to say that you would be able to predict what it might look like, or is it's one of those things we have to wait and see?
It's you gotta wait because it's so unique. So, like I said, with Atlanta, you can clearly see, even in the past, you could see what it was going to become. You had Outkast, you had Ti, you had um, a Gucci Man, you had all these people from the A. They were already like you already knew what it was going to become. Charlotte literally has no past like that. Like we only, and this is no disrespect, man. I'm leaving people out, but I only can name a few people that were doing hip hop in this culture. Like literally, we don't have a history like that. We had R&B and we got like other cultures, but the hip hop community, what it's just now getting to a point where it's like, yo, like when the baby took off, when Luke took off, you got Elevated J, you got people like then it started becoming even more of a thing. There, we literally are just now getting to a point where people are recognizing us. So it's kind of like we got to play the waiting game. We got to see where it's going to go. Now, I know what I would do as an artist because my goal is to create a bigger foundation, more entertainment, because there's a lot of jobs, right? There's a lot of jobs here, but there are not a lot of entertainment jobs. So you can go to LA and you can get a job, you can get a job at Interscope. You can get a job in anywhere. You go to LA, right? But or you can go to Atlanta and find opportunities. But Charlotte, it's hard to find entertainment job here. So that's the goal. That's long, like one of my biggest goals is to create that here. But
Gotcha.
of course, I'm going to need help doing that. But yeah,
Right.
we got to play the waiting game, man. We got to see.
Okay, we're back now for the interview. Going to ask you a few questions, Devin. This is for the listeners to get to know more about you. For those who already are familiar with you, to get to see what you've been up to lately. So I'm going to go ahead and fire off with this first question. Does North Carolina have its own music tradition or sound? Better put, is there some distinct feature, subgenre, or other element that only comes from North Carolina? If no, why not?
I would say yeah, yeah. It's a blend. It's a like it's a melting pot. But we have the way we talk, like the way we say certain things, like Elevated J, like "What up, babe," or Kato Mighty, and just like the slang that we hear when we were with our grandparents. But North Carolina is unique. It's a very unique thing because it's different styles. Like I once, it's not like Atlanta or it's not like LA where the music is the same all the way across. Like you're gonna get, you got the boom baps, you got the R&B singers, you got the nerdcore, you got like different types of. I don't know. It's just a bunch of everything in one. I really don't know. Like in just being a part of it, I should know. But I mean, again, the culture here, the scene is very unique, bro. It's very unique. There's no way to describe the music here. It's just whatever you're looking for is here. Just know that.
Okay. When you were putting together St. Luke Street, you were drawing on your own back catalog of several dozen songs. What was the connecting force that brought the album together? Were songs chosen around a single theme, or was it more based on cultivating a mood?
It was cultivating a mood, and then I mean, also St. Luke is where everything started. So I grew up on that street. That's the only house I know. I can't remember any other places that my grandmother stayed before that. Like that's she would talk about it. I believe my grandma stayed in Virginia before that. Like I can't remember anything. That's where I grew up like as a baby. And so I met a producer. Like I recorded my first songs and produced my first records like on that road on St. Luke. Also, there was these girls. They used to stay across the street, like directly across the street from my grandma. So what I thought was love, that's I got my first little girlfriend over there. We used to go back and forth, and it wasn't just me; it was a bunch of girls. So my cousins and we would all go back and forth. So I experienced a lot there, and so that's why I decided to give my album that name because I talk about love and I talk about trying to come up and all of those things. So I was like, let me name my album Saint Luke. It's like my
You
genesis, man. It was like the start of everything.
you were instructed by people on your team to try and cultivate an image that could be rolled into a branding and marketing around your music. Did you find the creation of an image or identity something that defines you as an artist, or is it something that you intend to cultivate and change as you and your work evolves?
I think I intend to change it as I evolve. Because to be honest, I'm not a fashion guy. I don't know what to look like. I really don't. Yeah, I throw on my shades, man, and let down my hair a little bit and put on whatever I think is dope. But as far as an image, I'm still figuring it out. You know, there are people who have their own image of me, like things that they see and they. But I plan on changing it as I grow. I feel like I'm going to evolve. So it's exciting, man. It's I can't wait to see where I end up. But yeah, I don't have I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm staying humble about it and asking questions and remaining a student.
And my last and final question to you: working on any self-started process, whether it is a business or an album, can sometimes feel like nothing is happening for an extended period until it suddenly blooms, with a lot of uncertainty along the way. How were you able to tell that things were working and what things were worth pursuing? Or was it largely a lot of determination and trial by error?
It's a lot of trial and error. I mean, that's always the thing. As you know, like from the music in from the music that you've heard in the past to now, the music that I always had great responses. Well, the music that I started putting out now, I got an even greater response, and that's how I kind of knew, okay, this is it. This is what works, and I stuck to that. But I got my information from people who've done it. So there's a quote that I love: "If you stand on the shoulders of giants, you can see further than others." So I will only look for a response from people who've people who've done it, like they've been there, right? And that's the only way you can really tell, like if it's gonna work. I mean, of course, your friends matter, but you want to hear it from people who have been Grammy nominated. They got plaques. They've been in the industry for a very long time. So I would roll my when I put up my album, put up my music. I would ask them, "Hey, what do you think about this? How does this sound?" And when I was getting that response, like, "Yo, this is crazy," or "This is fire," or this and that, that's how I knew it was it. That's how I was like, okay, I'm moving in the right direction. This is what I need to do. I don't need to do nothing else. Stay right here in this pocket. So of course, my manager, he's been in the game. He's been doing it for a very long time. So before I got my opportunity, he was one of those guys who's like, well, let me hear him out before I decide to do it or move forward or give him anything. And when he green lighted and was like, yo, this is crazy, I already knew. I already knew because a lot of people don't know, but my manager, he was a part of Little Brother. So Little Brother was a group, and they're legends. It was Fonte, it was Big Pooh, it was Ninth Wonder. Big Doe is my manager, so his opinion mattered. And then when Big Pooh came around and he green lighted, he was like, "Yo, you cold," and he heard it as well and he green lighted. So that's how I knew things were moving in the right direction. When the legends start popping out and they start complimenting your music, you know you're doing something right. So it's no shade to the friends or family, but you got to get your information from people who've been there and that's doing it. And especially, I'm talking about the OGs, not the new folks. Not the new folks. The OGs are the ones who they seal the deal because they'll tell you no in a heartbeat. Man, it's trash. No, we ain't rocking with this. But when the OGs like it, yeah. So that's how I kind of knew that I was doing the right thing.
Okay. Well, Devn, thank you for coming on SANE Show again. I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed having you on the show, and you're always welcome back on. Really quick, before I let you go, if you could let the listeners know where they can find your music and find St. Luke Street.
Yeah, so St. Louis Street is out now on all DSPs. It's all digital platforms. So it's on Apple Music, it's on Spotify, it's on Amazon Music, it's on Deezer, it's on iHeartRadio, Pandora. I mean, anything, YouTube Music, YouTube, anywhere that you look, it's going to be there. Also, my tag is at Who is Devn. That's all on all social media platforms. Who is Devn? Because people still trying to figure out who I am. And then the last thing, man, I just want everybody to check out. I knew me and Luke's new record myself. It's out right now. It's doing numbers. It's in a lot of major I don't know what you call it, blogs or magazines or whatever, like Complex and Revolt and things like that. So yeah, definitely check out myself. That's out now as well. And stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Yeah, listeners, people are saying a lot of great things about his music, in all the major publications and stuff. And you can find it everywhere. So please go and check him out. Show your support. Again, St. Luke Street. And that, again, that is Who is Devn. That is Who, WHOISDEVN. So make sure to check them out. Thank you again, Devn. Thank you again, listeners, for continuing to show your support and continue to like, share, subscribe. And remember, you guys are listening to SANE Show about nothing and everything. And until next time, we're out.